Hey, it's Bruce Hill, New Skills, New You. They asked a question, what do you do? And it's really amusing to me how difficult that question can be um, for someone who isn't prepared to answer it. I make sales simple. Now, for the right person, they're like, okay, wait, how do you make sales simple? Then we'll learn more. And that's a clue, that's a hint. If it piques our interest, if it creates, it should either create clarity or curiosity. They want to hear more, you're doing something right. A lot of times we have these long, complicated explanations of what we do, and it really just causes confusion. And you wonder why, man, this really isn't working. Simplicity wins. So I tell people, hey, I make sales simple. And then the right people usually ask, well, how do you do that? I say, I'm glad you asked. Most responses would be like, oh, workshops, a speaker, author, all great things, but it's not really, that's that's how. But they want to look at what is your process. And let me pull those apart, the subtle difference. So I'll say, well, I help them hear yes more often through simple skills like asking better questions so that they can attract their ideal client, the ones they want to keep, right? Um, without expensive software or complicated sales methodologies. And what happens to answer, I should have looked at the time, it might be 15, 20 seconds. What happens to answer it in a response, it answers several of your questions. It answers what it is, what's the outcome, how we get to that outcome, and how we don't get to the outcome. So I think there's really something important about the contrast without expensive software, or depending on the room, I'll say without complicated sales methodologies, or I'll say without sounding salesy. And that contrast is, hey, I don't want to be here and I do want to be here, is where people are like, okay, well, how do I work with you? And you say, hey, let's book a call. Right? That's where I want to codify, where I can teach anyone how to do that for their business. And what happens so often is not having a clear, concise, and compelling answer to, hey, what do you do, is costing you money. You're missing opportunities because your ideal client could be right in front of you, but now they're walking away from you instead of towards you, right? Literally and figuratively. So my confidence is if I can help you explain what you do more effectively, the rest of your business can grow. We're going to give you a better chance to succeed in a lot of other areas in your business. So let's look at the solopreneur. You're wearing a lot of hats. You are the sales team, you are the marketing team, operations. And so I need more of your conversations to turn into clients. Okay. What's the most effective way I can do that? I can help your introduction be clear, concise, and compelling. Let's say you're a business development rep, or maybe you're a business development manager, you got a team of outbound or inbound reps. Especially outbound, though, there's this brief period of time, whether it's the first email, LinkedIn message, phone call. The phone call still works. I think you should warm up your contacts more than we did in the past, but it's a conversation for another time. How quickly can you explain what you do? How clearly can you explain what you do? And how confidently can you communicate that so that it becomes compelling that they want to take the next step? When I was working for a tech startup, it's been since acquired, so I guess we did something right. I think it was the first maybe 30 employee, maybe first 40. I'll have to go back and look. I was struggling at first to articulate the transformation. We always want to talk about problems. And maybe 2 or 3 months, I was missing opportunities. It wasn't getting anywhere. And I had to pause and I wrote a training for myself that I share with you all. And I wrote this framework. I said, okay, if I need them, if it's the right person to want to hear to the next part, want to hear step two. And I said, well, what do they want to hear? They want to hear about the transformation. And in my book, I talk about the promise, right? Where are we going to get to because I have this phone call, because I had this discovery call, because I do this technical demo, because we do a live proof of concept? Being able to say that in one sentence is going to be a first step. So, hey, listen, I help coaches, authors, consultants hear yes more often. Yeah, if I'm a coach, author, or consultant, I'm like, okay, well, I definitely want to hear yes. How do we do that? They're going to start asking questions. Now, again, with the how, I want to break down, yeah, so I'll do 3 workshops. They're 60 minutes each over Google Meet. That's not what they're asking. They're asking, how can you help me? And so, well, what happens most of the time is they have great conversations with someone that'd be a perfect client, maybe someone that books the big stage, maybe that key investor that'd be a perfect fit. And they're in front of them, they're talking to them. But at the end of the conversation, you hear things like, we'll have to think about it, we'll call you back, this isn't a good fit, we're going to go in a different direction. And you're hearing that more often than you're hearing yes. That's costing you money and you're wasting time. Now, to someone who's been in that scenario, they're like, wait, that's exactly what happens. Bruce, can you help me? Yeah, I can, absolutely. Here's what we're going to do next. Now we talk about the next step. There's 2 things to unpack there. When that first conversation, I think they try and sell them the product or service. When that first conversation really should just be to get them to the next step. And the next step very rarely is signing on the dotted line. Now, from the first call, you know how to do that? Teach me. Give me a call, sell me. I'll buy it. Most people have some education has to happen. There has to be some understanding on your part to make sure we're offering the right product or service to them. And then we present the solution. So it all starts with that introduction. None of that happens without a strong introduction. And I realize if we can help them with these strong introductions, they're going to need help with some other things. Man, I got these discovery calls, but they're not really moving to the next step. What's wrong? All right, we'll help them solve that. Hey, I'm having trouble training my team to fulfill all the yes that we got, all the new clients we got from turning our conversations into clients training. All right, great. Now we got to spread the team. So we can help you at the very beginning of the process. You'll know us that we can help you through the rest of it. You'll trust us to handle that. And that's where you are going to have an advantage. Because you have that strong introduction, you give yourself more opportunities to hear yes. You give yourself more opportunities to have a conversation, explain what you do and why it's so important. And that increases your chance to hear yes from your ideal client. So let's go back to the beginning. I make sales simple. What is maybe 8 to 10 words that you can use to explain what you do so that people want to hear the next sentence? All right, that's your homework. That's your exercise. Leave it in the comments. Let's see if we have some good ones. And stay tuned. I'm going to start hosting workshops to help you do just that. All right. Remember, one new skill will change your life.